Zach Ratliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. I'm glad to be with you. I'm glad you are with me. Thank God for a beautiful day, as it's the month of Thanksgiving. It's always exciting this time of year for everybody. I'm excited. Like I said the other day, yesterday, I guess. I've been hunting a lot, and we'll continue that trend here shortly. But anyway, let's jump in. I'm going to go through some articles that I found throughout the day since I've last talked to you, and we'll just see where we're going. Um, all right, so here we go. Okay, no, WashingtonPost.com. WashingtonPost.com. The Trump plan to open California to offshore drilling. Why are we not? If there's oil there, why are we not? Let's go get this oil. Well, we can do it off of Louisiana. We can do it in the Gulf. Why haven't we been doing it off of California? We have enough resources to not be dependent on any other nation. Let's make our computer chips here. Let's make our medicine here. Let's get our petroleum and oil from here. Let's get our coal from here. Let's do all the things from here. And then if we just want to tell everybody to pack sand, we can do that. When our way of life is controlled by other countries, it's a problem. I don't know how much more clear we need to be on that. It's an amazing thing that this is even an issue. Anyway, that's part of the Trump plan. The liberals are going to push back on it because, you know, and once again, fossil fuels, it's a limited resources. Oil is the second most available liquid on the planet behind water. Oil is a naturally occurring resource that God put here for us to discover and be able to use. Now, once, like I always say, the farther you get from God, the easier it is to think crazy things. Do you think there were so many dinosaurs that all died and they only died in certain spots of the world and that's why there's only oil there? I mean, fossil fuel, what a crazy thing to believe. I get made fun of because I think it's not real, but what a crazy thing to believe that all the dinosaurs died in certain areas and so we can only get oil from there. How about that naturally occurring pockets where we choose to get it from? And oh, it turns out we can get it off the coast of California. They just haven't been letting us. Oh, we can get it in Alaska. We just haven't been letting us. Once we start getting all this oil, what we need to do is then create some more refineries. If we had more refineries, we would have cheaper gas, by the way. I saw an article, or I don't remember which one of the news sites it was on, that said, gas has only fallen 1 penny year over year, but that's not true here. I paid with, with the uh, with the app, you get 10 cents off a gallon with the app. With the app at Walmart, I paid 207 yesterday for gas. And good with it. Even if it's their loss leader, that's on them. 207, I'm ready to see 199. What was it? At one point with Trump, what was it? 150, 140 in his first administration? Let's go, baby. Let's open this thing up. I get gas at least once a week, but usually twice. At 207, it was $45. So I'm anywhere from $100 to $200 a week in gas. The less I spend on that, the more I can spend on other things. Also, the less companies spend to ship you your goods, the cheaper they can do that for, and they can lower prices. This is the way it works. Song came into my head. This is the way we ball. But we can. It's all we need to pump more oil and we need to refine more oil. But that's too simple. So I don't know why we'd ever do that. All right, this is from Cam Higby on X.com. Yesterday in Berkeley, which would have been when I read this, would have been Monday. in Berkeley, California, the man professing Christ as king had his cross ripped from his neck by what appears to be a Muslim man. He was then roughly punched 15 times in the face. He never threw a punch himself. Instead, he struggled to retrieve his cross, and then he was arrested as an agitator. I thought we had the freedom of religion here. What if somebody's religion tells them to beat up and hurt people that don't believe like them? Obviously, that's the case here. I don't know why we keep trying to sugarcoat everything. Christian, in Nigeria, Christians are being slaughtered. Christians are being persecuted around the world, and now they're being persecuted in the greatest country ever formed. Can't just keep putting our head in the sand. We can't just keep not talking about it. We don't have to be militant about it, but we need to bring uh, awareness around the issue, is what I'm saying. Let's go. This is from Eric Doherty, X.com. It says it's been exposed that in that 14 days into the government shutdown, and this is on Fox News as well, 14 days into the government shutdown, Democrat moderates were about to reopen everything, and Chuck Schumer ordered them into a back room and told them to hold out. They're 2 weeks in, 14 days. They were like, hey, this isn't good for us. This isn't good for the people. Chuck Schumer wanted the pain. He thought it would make Donald Trump look bad. It's always about power. It's always about money. No matter what they tell you it's about power and money. We have to know that every day. Being manipulated and lied to by everyone in government. Democrats, Republicans, people that claim they're independent and they're not. They all have a goal. My goal is to take care of my family and to give you all the best information I can. Give you my opinion on where it is. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Dr. Roger Marshall on X.com, MD. Republicans will have a health care bill by December that puts the American patient first. We will not be sending the $150 billion in subsidies to insurance companies anymore. Good, because while you're subsidizing them, they're also going up on the prices they can charge us. It's a crazy thing. Coming off this SNAP debacle and with the food stamps and all, think about this. What the insurance companies have been getting in order to quote unquote keep prices lower, which it hasn't, was just payments to them from the government, just giving them money. If that works so well, why doesn't the SNAP program just give money to the grocery store chains? But it doesn't work well. And SNAP also causes the cost of things to go up because people are buying stuff that they don't need with money that they didn't earn, right? Am I the only one? I mean, I hate to sound like a curmudgeon, but that's right. I'm all for keeping people not starving. However, if you don't earn the money, you don't necessarily get to choose what you get to eat. It's like going out to eat with somebody. You remember when, have you ever been on a date or two, and you realize that the person that you're taking on a date, they're waiting to hear you order in order so they can know what price to not go above? Drives me nuts, right? When the lady's always supposed to order first anyway. Oh, you go ahead. No, nope, right? When you're not making the money at all, it doesn't matter. You're just going to spend however much you want to. What happens in every government bureaucracy? What happens all the time. All these people are going to raise money for charity, going to do all this. Well, it's not your money, so it's the same thing over and over and over and over. Anyway, This says by December, Republicans are going to have a health care bill put together, puts the American patient first again. I am ready to see it. Okay, this next one, do you all remember the Benghazi issue and then what's the movie made about it, 48 hours or 13 hours or about Ambassador Stevens? If this and it feels right. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. It's called A Man of Men at Ricky Doggan on X.com. Okay. You need to go read the article. If this is even a quarter right, what a scandal. It talks about the setup that there was for Ambassador Stevens, how our government had sold missiles to the Taliban on the black market, and then one of those was used to shoot down a U.S. helicopter. And then the whole reason Ambassador Stevens was there was to buy back those missiles so it couldn't be proved that it came from a U.S. weapons storage. And then that's why they wouldn't send support so nobody would know. And then how the cover up was based off of a YouTube video. And it's just wild. It's the thing movies are made of, except for U.S. service people lost their lives over this, including Ambassador Stevens. Our government lies to us. They lied to us about Benghazi. They lied to us about the vid. They lied to us about the Kennedy assassination. They lied to you about Nixon. They are, if you think we get the full information, we don't. They lie to you every day and then call you crazy for not believing it. This is the way. This is what they do. This is how it happens. Go read this. The name of the article, it just says, it just starts off with Ambassador Stevens, but the name of the article is, well, it went away. Forward this again and again until everyone reads the true story about Benghazi. Look that up. You need to know this. And it was, the Obama White House, and then, I mean, this is who we're dealing with. Okay, these are the people that claim all the bad stuff against us. These are the ones who tried, you know, to throw Donald Trump in prison and bankrupt him and everything else. You need to know this. Okay, Laura Loomer, X.com. The UK has made the decision to stop or to halt sharing intelligence with the US. And I remember talking about this on here. Um, in September, she says, Laura Loomer, that she called for the US to stop sharing intelligence with the UK after an Islamic terrorist supporter became their UK home security, who now controls the MI5, which is, that's what James Bond was in, MI7, um, and all of that. So they've stopped sharing their info with us. Israel's stopped sharing their info with them. We've got to cut these ties. We've got to cut these ties, especially if we're going to share information with Israel and they're going to share with us. We can't be associated with someone that supports terrorism. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, this is from Jim Ferguson on X.com. Um, it says the White House has just admitted it. X is home to hundreds of millions of users. This is just talking about how the deterioration of the mainstream media has moved to X. Yeah, thank you, Elon Musk, for that. Moved to X, but it's moved. I mean, a lot of, there are a lot of podcasts out there. There are a lot of ways to get information, right? Thank you to Rush Limbaugh, right? He's the one that started this alternative alternative idea. All this goes back to Rush Limbaugh. Anyway, mainstream media is falling apart. It's come caving in on itself. Um, It's just a wild world. We just have to keep supporting it. We have to keep talking about things. We have to be honest about what's happening in our country, no matter who tries to stop us. Okay, Nick Sorter on X.com. Um, since Trump's announced Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago, the shootings are down 35%. Robberies are down 41%. Carjackings are down 50%. Law enforcement helps. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. JB Pritzker and the boys will tell you that it's not, but it's obviously helping. Just imagine if they'd allow our National Guard to actually carry guns. What a wild world that would be. Crazy. Just crazy. Eric Doherty. Supreme Court sides with President Trump. SCOTUS has extended their pause on activist judge order requiring Trump to pay out SNAP benefits because you can't pay something with money you don't have. Had this discussion with my daughter the other day. She's 10, opened her little bank account, put her allowance in, um, and got her the app on her iPad, debit card, and just like, hey, she's like, oh, why do I already have that money in there? I'm like, you don't. We're going to consider that zero. That's my money. That's what I started the account with. You don't get to play in that money. That isn't yours. Well, that's what our government does. They're taking from me and you to play with money they don't have because the government has zero money. Anything the government has, they have taken from us under threat of imprisonment or worse. Anyway, government will be open. They'll fund SNAP. Although, I was seeing the videos about Walmart and it being different. And I was in Walmart. I was in a super center yesterday afternoon. It was different. It was different. Be interested to see what happens on Thursday once they open this bad boy up. See what you see, as they say. Okay, this is something I saw that's wild. This is from a newsman on X. It's from the Washington Free Beacon. Washington Free Beacon poll from late August asked young conservatives their opinions on a number of people in media. 40% of young conservatives have never heard of Mark Levin. So Zorhan Mandami, who just won the New York mayoral race, only 42% of young conservatives have never heard of him. Bibi Netanyahu, 35% never heard of him. Nick Fuentes, 33% never heard of him. Patrick Bet David, 44% of people have never heard of Patrick Bet David. If you're in these people, go. Patrick Bet David saw it. Go listen to him. Mark Levin, 40%. Now, Mark Levin's favorable rating on those who had heard of him was 29% favorable, 7% unfavorable. Patrick Bet David, for those who had heard of him, 26 and 7. Alex Jones, 26% of these people hadn't heard of Alex Jones, which is wild. He has a 36% approval rating. Ben Shapiro has a 50% approval rating, but still 15% hadn't heard of him. 15% hadn't heard of Candace Owens. She had a 49% approval rating. I figured she would be lower. Um, Charlie Kirk, obviously, even with all that's happened, 20% of people still hadn't heard of Charlie Kirk. And then you get to your Joe Rogan, 8% hadn't heard of him. So I just found that wild, found that interesting. And for me, I talk about this stuff so much, and everybody that knows me or kind of knows me, this is what we talk about, right? This is what they've got questions, and they want to. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And so I feel like everybody I'm surrounded with completely understands all this, and I know that's not the case, but it's eye opening to me, and it's a reminder to me that there's just a few of us, even the ones that are politically tied in. Most people aren't worried about it. Most people are getting little Susie to swim practice and getting little Johnny to, whatever little Johnny does. Worried about making the house note in a hard economy. Worried about the ever rising electric bill. Have y'all looked at that lately? Goodness. Worried about paying the gas bill. Worried about it. Hey, I wonder if I can get enough money together, buy a couple of runs of chicken wings and be able to throw some grill or throw some charcoal on the grill and have some folks over. Right? Got to get to church. You don't have time to worry about things. And that's where the message is lost. Yeah, that's where it's lost. Okay, well, here's a not going to be breaking one for anyone in this show. Let's see, I have some notes here. I have written to myself, I've been saying this. So let's see what I've been saying. This is from Brianna Morello, like Modelo, but with an R. Morello. White men found themselves discriminated against when DEI policies were being implemented. What? Say it ain't so, dear lady. Who would have thought? What a crazy concept. She goes on. If liberals truly believe minorities and women are discriminated against when applying for jobs, why not apply without names? You're exactly right. And I'll go farther. She has a detailed plan. She says, go without names, go without sex, just go by social security number. I wouldn't even put the address in there, so you don't even know where somebody lives. Social security number and qualification. That's as fair as you can get. And even through a you could go through a messaging system that doesn't show the email, right? So you don't get a misssexy.com, misssexy at gmail.com email address that you created when you were 12, and all of a sudden you're applying for jobs with it. And trust me, that does happen. I used to work in a bank or a few banks, and people would open up accounts with just the craziest email addresses you've ever heard of for their account, and they'd say it, and you'd look at them like, "We still doing this?" And they'd be like, "Oh, well, I was 17." Anyway, all that said, take all that stuff off applications, job applications, welfare applications, school applications. You don't need it. Let's just be fair. If we're going to be fair, I don't need to know your sex. I don't need to know your race, and I don't need to know who you have sex with even. I don't need to know your socioeconomic status. Just want to give everybody an equal playing field. Now, I know that's controversial, but I'm not sure why. Not sure why that's a big deal. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. I hope God blesses each and every one of you today, and we'll be back and we'll do it all again tomorrow.